Hey, what's going on? It's Jack Milocco for Beardbrand. Welcome to episode 2 of Beard Breakdown, the series where we look at beards, break them down, and if you're not careful, you might just learn something. Today we turn our spotlight on the world of music and the world of beards. Stay tuned. In the last episode, we took a look at the beards of football, but this week we're going to look at some musical mustaches, some baritone beards, and some other musical pun I can't think of right now. On the docket today, we've got 5 musicians and their beards, and we're going to kick things off with the obvious one that you probably expected me to talk about. That's ZZ Top. But hang on, we're going to get into a little bit more. We're going to take it up north to Toronto's own champagne poppy, Drake. Number 3 on the list, we're going to go across the pond to England and take a look at Queen's Freddie Mercury. 4th on the list, we're going to get a little bit more new school, take a look at the follicles of Post Malone, American rapper. And to wrap things up, we're going to look at number 5, kind of a smaller name that many of you might not know, but you might want to take a look at after this video, is Father John Misty, American singer-songwriter. All right? Just like last week, we're going to go ahead and break these beards down into the different categories of what style they wear, and then after that, I'll offer them a little bit of style advice. All right? Let's jump right into it. First on deck, we've got ZZ Top. Now, when I say ZZ Top, you might be a little bit confused. Am I talking about Billy Gibbons? Am I talking about Dusty Hill? I'm going to talk about both because both these guys rock pretty similar styles, and that's reaching towards the fabled tweed. That's the 2-year beard grown out with no trimming whatsoever. These things are massive. Man, if you don't know ZZ Top at all, you probably just know them as those musicians with the beards. They are known for these things, man. And I mean, I've seen pictures of them without the beards, and I feel like a little bit of the magic is lost. So, keeping things cut and dry, we're going to keep to just the category and mock these guys up as tweeds, okay? Now, it almost feels a bit blasphemous to recommend that they do anything with these beards. I feel like all the beard lovers in the world are going to come after me if I tell them to cut off their beards. No, I don't want them reaching for the clippers or the scissors or anything like that. I want them to style their beards a little bit, though. These guys are known for the very naturalist beards, and they're very kind of just go with the flow, very long, gets a little bit wispy towards the ends. But man, I feel like we can do a little bit more with that. So specifically, I'm going to take a look at Billy Gibbons right now. He's got that classic forked beard at the bottom, and I think from my own experience, there is a way to sort of tame that fork. Now, of course, I think he does like to rock it as a style all of his own. Same thing with Dusty Hill. He's got a little bit of that fork at the bottom, but one thing you can do to combat that fork, guys, is introduce the round brush or boar hair brush and a blow dryer, okay? Greg Berzinsky's talked about this in tons of videos. I've done it in videos. I've even used a heated brush alongside Greg Berzinsky. These methods and a little bit of styling balm are gonna go a long way, guys. That will introduce a more pointed or a little bit more of a rounded, nice, a little more natural beard that you might want versus that fork that's there at the bottom. Again, it is totally up to you, and the French fork, as you guys are rocking, is an awesome style all of its own. And if you want to continue to do that, go for it. But let me offer you this. If you are going to go in the direction of keeping the French fork, maybe emphasize it a little bit. Same technique, same idea, a little bit of styling balm in the beard, a little bit of round brush or boar hair brush, and that hair dryer, okay? You're going to really pull that beard apart at the bottom and really emphasize those forks. If not, do the opposite. Bring them into the middle, and you'll get a little bit more of a shape to it, kind of similar to Mahesh Hayward on the channel, all right? Other than that, I'm kind of digging everything else. I wouldn't touch the mustache. I wouldn't touch the cheek lines. I want to keep these beards as preserved as they can because, again, it's kind of blasphemy to go against ZZ Top and tell them to change anything about their beard that isn't a little bit of styling, okay? No clippers, no trimmers. You guys get to keep them. But remember, styling balm, heated brush, or blow dryer, and those round brushes or horsehair brushes. Boom. Number 1. Done. Number 2, we're going to talk about Canadian rapper Drake and the beard that he rocks. Now, he kind of goes back and forth. A lot of times he's completely shaven. A lot of times he's rocking a beard. But when he does rock the beard, the one that we do see is kind of a corporate beard, if you will. Very short, very tight, lower cheek lines, but still in the style of a corporate beard because it is reaching a little bit up onto the cheek lines. If he was to drop that all the way down to the complete bottom of his jaw, then we'd get into Hollywoodian territory. But because there's a little bit of a cheek line and because he keeps it so nice and trimmed up, we'll consider that a corporate beard, all right? And what can I say about this one? I mean, I do like it. It works really well for his style. It presents a nice clean-cut look that he really goes for. I know he sometimes gets the little carved line on the top of his hair. Looks nice, not my thing, you know, even though I've tried out lines in the past. I do like this overall corporate beard style that he's going for. What I will recommend though, and if he is possible to do it, it might not be a possibility, but I'd love to see him grow out that mustache a little bit more, because what he's doing right now, at least from what I've seen in some pictures and from him performing, he likes to keep the mustache really small and really tight. I'd like to see this thing growing out a tiny bit more, just to kind of match the overall growth of the bottom part of his beard. It looks a little bit disproportional right now, and I think if he was introduced that growth in there, it would look a lot more together, if that makes sense. Now for Drake, in terms of what I'd put into the beard, I wouldn't necessarily go for blow dryer, the heated brush, or anything like that. I think he's doing it nice, keeping it all nice and trimmed, but in terms of any sort of product, I'd go for, let's go with utility balm. Nice and buttery, gets right into the beard, keeps it looking nice all day, not too shiny, not too matte, somewhere in between. So I think for a guy like Drake, I don't think he wants to really announce this beard, even though he does sort of have a persona all of his own. I think he wants something that's not screaming, hey, look at my beard, because that's not really what he's known for, okay? Utility balm, grow out that mustache, and overall, keep it nice and trimmed, okay? Take it or leave it, Drake. Number 3 on this list is one of the kings of pop. Now, I'm not talking about Michael Jackson. I'm talking about Freddie Mercury of Queen. I know he's not really known for like a beard or anything giant, but man, that mustache, come on. You all know this mustache. This is somewhere between a cop stash and a walrus. A little bit more than a cop stash and a little bit less than a walrus, because he doesn't grow it past the lip and it doesn't cover his entire mouth. He keeps it very neat and trimmed above the lip. So, man, if we could really classify this as the Mercury mustache, I'd love that. But for the sake of this video, let's just call this a grown-out cop stash that's leaning a little bit towards the walrus, okay? Again, sort of like with ZZ Top, it almost feels blasphemous to tell Freddie Mercury to do anything with that style, because it really is iconic. But just like with ZZ Top, what we can do is offer a little bit of advice on how to take care of that mustache. Now, a couple of things. With the mustache like that, Freddie Mercury kept it really trimmed and really neat. So that means he wanted to keep something on him, unless he was going to a barbershop or, had people come in and trimming the mustache for him every single day. If he wanted to do something at home, I'd recommend a little pair of travel scissors to take along with him. If he wants to get into the products of what to put in the mustache, though, I would have recommended a little bit of beard oil, specifically Temple Smoke. For a guy like Freddie Mercury, who was known as being bodacious, bombastic, and in your face, I think he wants something that was a little bit more subtle with his mustache. The mustache itself announced itself, but the fragrance in the mustache, man, I think that could have been a little bit more subtle, just like with Temple Smoke. I think he wants something that's not going to drive him crazy, not going to be getting wafts of it all day. It's just going to get little hints of that every once in a while. So, again, Freddie Mercury, for what I would do for him, I would say trim it up with a pair of travel scissors, keep it nice and neat, because not all the time are you going to have someone to come in and trim it for you. And on top of that, I put a little bit of Temple Smoke beard oil right into that mustache. All right? Other than that, you do not have to do a damn thing to that mustache, because man, was that thing a mustache to remember. All right? Let's move on with number 4. Number 4, we're going back into the world of rap with Post Malone. Now, this is one of those ones that kind of stumped me, man. His beard or facial hairstyle or whatever you want to call it is something unique all of its own. I don't really know how I would classify it within our parameters of beard styles, but if I had to put a number on this one or a label on this one, I'd say, let's go with natural, leaning towards Hollywoodian. Very unkept Hollywoodian though, okay? He's got the 2 little bits of mustache just like mine. Disconnects kind of on the cheeks, and we see most of the growth there on the jaw and the neck, kind of creeping up into the cheeks near the sideburns. So again, let's call this like a naturalist Hollywoodian. Very unique, very of its own. Post Malone's gonna be an interesting case, because not only is he younger than me, he's 23 and I'm 24, he really marches to the beat of his own drum. So any advice I give to him, and he may watch this video, he watches a lot of YouTube videos, but anything I say right here probably won't be taken to heart by him. But you know what? We're gonna give it a shot anyway. So Post Malone, you've got a very unique style, man. So what I would suggest is we do bust out the razor in this situation. We drop down those cheeks, we drop down that neck and the jawline, and we introduce something called the Van Dyke. That's where you're gonna keep the mustache. It's actually really similar in growth pattern to mine. But keep the goatee shave this part and then keep that mustache. It's gonna look a little bit more neat, and when you mix it with the sort of unique hairstyle that you're going for, it's gonna look a lot better overall. If you got the wildness on the face and the wildness in the hair, overall it can just look a little bit unkempt. Now, of course, this is kind of all your style, but you know, if you want to take it to the next level, I would try cleaning things up. Just try that Van Dyke out for a little bit. Who knows? Maybe you'll get a whole new image going on. And hey, if we can credit this video for giving you a new image, wouldn't that be something? All right. So again, what I'd offer for Post Malone is shave down the cheeks, especially in the sideburn areas and in the cheek line and in the neck and in the jaw. Keep the mustache, you can keep it the same length, and keep the goatee, but make sure the goatee is trimmed up a little bit, all right? We don't want any wildness going on down there either. Overall, you want to keep this nice and trimmed, maybe get a little bit of beard oil in there just to make sure that you've got a little bit of a pop, a little bit of a shine. But overall, man, take it or leave it. It is your choice. It is your beard. All right, let's move on with the final one on our list, number 5. Number 5, Father John Misty. Again, you might not know him, but you ought to go check him out. And you gotta check out this beard, man, because this is a thing that you might really like and take some inspiration from. This is a natural beard, tried and true. A little bit unkempt, a little bit messy, but it goes with his overall style. We'll get into that a little bit later, but overall, if I had to classify Father John Misty's beard, I'd say this one, without a doubt, is a natural. Father John Misty's beard is one of those that I actually kind of envy myself. I like the growth pattern and I like the thickness on this one. So in terms of getting into the barbershop and clipping down any of it, I don't know if I would recommend that right away. What I would recommend, however, is something similar to what I said with Drake, and that's getting a bit of utility balm into that beard. He, like Drake, is one of those guys that probably doesn't want to announce his beard with a shinier look to it. So if you really put on a bunch of beard oil, he could get that shine. But I would rather him go for a more matte finish with utility balm. That's also just gonna give him a slight hold in that beard so that when he's walking around getting sweaty on stage, you know, he likes to wear a lot of layers. I don't want the beard getting a bunch of flyaways. So the utility balm is just gonna help add a little bit of that hold and a little bit of that matte, nourishing moisture into his beard so that it's not getting super crazy and dirty on stage, all right? You can also introduce some nice fragrances in there. Who knows? Father John Misty, maybe you'll watch this. Anyway, if we were going to neglect everything I just said for Mr. Father John Misty, we might take it a little bit more of a showman approach, go a little bit more of the Greg Berzinsky route. Let's talk about getting a little bit of that mustache wax in that mustache. See what happens when you introduce some handlebars. I think you can kind of emulate Greg Berzinsky's style, especially now that both of you have longer hair. I think that would look pretty nice in Father John Misty's beard, especially if he's trying to go for a little bit of a new image, if he's going for a new album or something like that. I think having those handlebars in the beard will look really nice. Now, of course, if we want to go back to my original opinion and we want to keep it what it is right now with the more naturalistic approach, just a little bit of utility balm in there, okay? So overall, Father John Misty, those are my advice pieces to you. And with that, let's get into the rankings of these beards. Again, this is in no way saying that these beards are better than one another, even though it kind of is. But at the end of the day, guys, I do not want you guys to think that this beard at the top is like the ultimate beard that everyone needs to strive for and should always try and get. This is just one knucklehead's opinion on what, appearance-wise, looks the best for me and who's taking care of their beard overall, okay? So again, these are all just my own opinion, but at number 5, I would put Post Malone. Just like I said earlier in the video, he's one of those guys that does a style all of its own, but that style being that unkempt sort of, I'm just gonna grow it out and let it go wherever it wants, really doesn't work for me. So at number 5, I'm gonna put Post Malone. Number 4, I can already see you guys getting mad when I say this one, but ZZ Top is my number 4 choice. Because I don't know if you notice a trend with me, I'm not a huge fan of when guys just sort of grow out their beards and just say, all right, that's it, it's good. It gets a bit wispy and it's sort of that unintentional French fork at the bottom. So even though it's a really iconic duo of beards, it's gonna be number 4 for me, all right? Number 3 for me is gonna be Drake. Now, I said I really liked his corporate beard style, I like that he keeps it really trim, but that little mustache is just holding it back from being higher up on this list. If he was to grow that out and introduce a little bit more of a flare to the front of his face, I think I'd probably bump him up at least one spot. For right now, with that smaller mustache and the bigger underneath growth, I'm gonna put him at number 3. Number 3, Drake. All right, let's move on to number 2. Number 2 is gonna be Freddie Mercury. The only reason I didn't put this one as number 1 is because realistically, it's not the full beard. Now, if Freddie Mercury did grow out a beard and it was at the same trimness and the same neatness and the same thickness as that mustache, man, this would be its own award all of its own. But because it's just that mustache, even though it's a really, really well taken care of mustache, I'm gonna have to save it for number 2. And finally, we go to the number 1 slot, and that is Father John Misty, the man with the big natural beard that I really do envy all of my own. Again, we go back to that bias, and I do like the way he wears this thing, man. It reminds me a little bit of when Joaquin Phoenix, the actor, grows out his beard, and I did like that one as well. We can talk about that in a future episode, but as for Father John Misty, I do like that he keeps a sort of not super crazy, but at the same time kind of a rockabilly style beard. It doesn't go super far out, there aren't a ton of flyaways, and it doesn't get super wispy at any part, and overall, even though it does have the sort of sloping cheek lines, I like it. He makes up for it with a thicker mustache. So overall, Father John Misty, you are my number 1 pick, all right? And just like I said in episode 1, guys, none of these need to be taken to heart. It's just a fun little way to look at some beards and get a little bit of a different perspective on all of them. So did I leave anyone out? Let me know down in the comments, and hey, let me know who you would like to see next. What subject should I take on next in this beard breakdown series? And I hope you guys are liking it. Seems like it's going so well so far. It's only going to get better from here on out. All right? So thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And hey, until I see you next time, keep on growing.
Thanks for watching this video. Beardbrand has launched a private community called The Alliance. It's for men who are looking to invest in themselves and who are looking to keep on growing. Click the link over there and come join us, or stick around and watch some more awesome videos.